On November the 8th, McEwen Mining announced its Q3 financials. As a shareholder, you may ask yourself what was relevant during the quarter. Well, McEwen Mining generated $3.3 million in earnings, or 1 cent a share. We also had a very strong quarter coming from both Argentina and our mine in Mexico, where we had earnings coming from our mines of $15.5 million. We also ended Q3 with a very strong financial position. We have $32 million in the bank. We remain debt-free, so we don't have a lot of pressure impacting our balance sheet similar to our peers. We had a very strong Q3, producing a record amount of gold. We did it at a cost that was less than last year, about 10% less. But with that said, there's a lot of areas that we can improve upon. Both San Jose and El Gallo have excess capacity that we're looking to utilize as we enter into Q4. I think that represents a lot of opportunity for us, because although it was a record quarter, there is ample opportunity to do better. At El Gallo 1, we're currently expanding that mine. We're going to see a 50% boost in processing capacity starting at the end of Q1 next year. We announced that we were going to be able to do it for $3 million versus the initial $5 million capex that we put in for the expansion. At San Jose, we saw grades picking up, we've seen costs coming down. We also have the Argentinian peso declining versus the US dollar, which is good for our mine. So we think we're in very good shape as we look to embark upon our next phase of growth. We believe exploration is vital towards the industry and McEwen Mining. A lot of our peers right now are cutting back on their exploration budgets, and they're doing so because it's quite easy. You just slash it out, it's an extra expense that's not needed for your operations. But as a shareholder, you really have to question why. If you look at the history of this industry, Barrick Gold Corp got their starts off big discoveries. Barrick's was in Nevada at Gold Strike, Gold Corp's was Red Lake in Northern Ontario, and we feel that this is the one way you can accelerate your growth is through exploration. In Mexico, we've been finding new veins south of the mine, and we see this really adding a number of years to the mine life at El Gallo 1, so we think it's going to continue for a number of years to come. Around El Gallo 2, we've been finding new discoveries around that deposit, which we think will extend the reserve life beyond 7 years. In Argentina, we just completed a small 20-hole program around the Cerro Moro discovery, which is owned by Yamana, formerly owned by Extore. But the most excitement for us is coming out of Nevada. You have the Cortez mine north of us, which is owned by Barrick. It is the world's largest, lowest cost mine. And we're using new water sampling technologies to find hidden deposits below the pediment cover. Because if you were to find something in Nevada, you're looking at something that's big, it's high grade, and that's where the wealth in the industry is going to come from. So we will not be slashing our exploration budgets. The last bit of good news I want to share with you is concerning El Gallo 2 in Mexico. We received 2 key permits. One was the environmental impact statement, and the second was our risk prevention plan. We only require 1 permit now that would allow us to begin construction as well as operations. But we're not going to build for the sake of growth. The rates of return have to be there. We have to look at precious metal prices. We have to look at the cost of debt or the cost of equity. So you may be asking yourself, why should you be looking at this industry with the recent volatility and the gains in the Dow? The one thing I would point to is that mining has traditionally delivered a lot of wealth to investors. It has been a volatile time for the whole industry. Metal prices obviously have been trending down this year, but it's not going to stay that way forever. For the companies that are delivering on their stated goals, that are growing, that are expanding their margins, there's going to be opportunity for investors to make money in this industry once again.